you doing? Good.
We're outside the class in the hallway watching Nicole Deaton at Shoreline Junior High School greet her students at the door.
How's it going, Grace? Good. You're loving the smiles. Welcome, welcome. How are we doing, Jocelyn?
Good.
How's your day?
Students are making their way to their seats.
Long already? How's it going, Kaylee? Doing
There's
okay.
music playing and students are having conversations with one another.
Elijah, how's it going today? Good.
On the screen in front of the room, the projector is displaying the learning objectives, sharing the I can statements with students, as well as the tasks and assignments for the day. There is a peaceful, calm feeling as the bell rings and Mrs. Deaton is in front of the room getting class started. When she begins talking, everyone quickly and quietly gives her their full attention. Welcome to Bite Size PL, professional learning you can consume during lunch or on a dog walk or while you shovel your driveway. Our goal is to provide meaningful, engaging, and brief conversations for educators. I'm Jared, and my co-host today is Kate.
Hi, Jared.
Hello, Kate. Our guest today is health teacher extraordinaire Nicole Deaton at Shoreline Junior High.
We're so excited you're here today. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm excited to be here.
Well, Nicole, I want to start off by saying for as long as the words social and emotional learning have been on my radar, your name has been attached to social and emotional learning for me in our district, and just as long as it's been a thing, I've just heard, Nicole Deaton. So my first question is, what makes you passionate about this? What makes you passionate about this idea of incorporating SEL in the classroom?
I think part of what makes me so passionate about this is a lot of it is good teaching practices. I've been teaching for a long time, and some of the concepts that they talk about with social and emotional learning are things that teachers are already doing. So I don't think it has to be like one more thing that we're asking for teachers to do. It's good teaching practices. And in addition to that, it helps to form a very positive atmosphere in a classroom. The kids are more engaged. They're more willing to participate. They're more comfortable with each other. It's just a very positive environment because that's what we're here for.
Well, and that's absolutely what we saw. We saw an inclusive classroom where everyone was engaged. They felt a part of things. Like you've done such a great job of creating that culture of learning in your class.
Thank you.
So our district is really focusing on the 3 signature SEL practices, having a welcoming routine, strategies of engagement in the middle part of class, and then ending with an optimistic or intentional closure. There's just so much to consider when you start class. We got to watch your welcoming routine. So why don't you walk us through the thumbs down, up and to the side routine that we saw while in class?
I think it's important to get in a very safe way where the kids aren't feeling threatened in any way, just how their day's going. So one of the techniques that I use is just a simple thumbs up, thumbs down, but it's right in front of their chest. So they're looking ahead, so they're not looking at each other's answers. And hey, if you're having a great day, a fantastic day, give me a thumbs up that today is awesome.
Okay, my day's been really good so far, but not perfect. So how's your day been?
And it's a quick check for me as a teacher to know if there are certain students that I need to maybe focus on and watch a little bit more during the class period, or even just to touch base with them. And the kids will be pretty honest. It's been a great day. It's been a terrible day. I'm sorry. I hope that we can change that for you. So you can tell a lot by their body language and their demeanor about what type of a day they're having as well.
Do you talk about, the emotional state that precedes learning and maybe why, you acknowledge and how we might get in a better emotional state? Is that something that is kind of the norm to even discuss as a class?
We do a little bit of that at the beginning, and sometimes I'll put just anonymous surveys on the board. How are you feeling today? Sometimes it's emojis, sometimes it's numbers. And I think it's good for the kids to realize they may be having a really good day, but somebody else may not be. And I think it helps to establish some of that sympathy and empathy. And we'll talk about it. Look, you guys, we don't know who it is, but we have a few kids that are struggling. And when other kids recognize that, most kids are really going to respond to that in a positive way and kind of try to help build each other up.
Well, that's a great way to teach that relationship skill and that self-awareness skill. Let me acknowledge how I'm feeling, and then let me feel empathy for others. And then let me do what is all over your classroom and be kind and grant each other a lot of grace for that. And I think that's really cool.
Every day when my kids leave, same thing. Have a good day and please be kind to each other. every day. Love that.
Well, and the great thing about it is that's what you've modeled throughout the whole time they're in the class. You're already gauging when they walk in as you greet them at the door, and then you've got just checks and assessment throughout the whole time they're in here on how they're feeling. And then I love that you talk about this with the kids, because I taught junior high as well. And they're not very aware of anything past the nose on their face sometimes.
Exactly.
Just that helping them be more aware of others in addition to themselves. I think that's so powerful. One of the other things that you did at the start of class was you had students grouped up, getting to know one another better. One of my core teaching philosophies is that students are going to talk in your class period. You can either make it a natural part of your class, or you can be interrupted the whole time.
We're going to take 1 to 2 minutes. And what I would like you to do with this 1 to 2 minutes, put your pencil down. Don't worry about your papers at all. I want you to turn to your group when I say go, and I just simply want you to talk.
So I love that you kind of got this out just right at the start. Like, you haven't seen each other for probably a day, and now you're here together. Let's just talk. Let's get to know each other better.
I want you to make sure you know every single person's name in your group. I would like you to get to know each other a little bit better. And you need to keep talking until I ask for your attention back up here.
Why don't you walk us through what you're having students do in these conversations?
Okay, in my class, the kids fill out a little card of who they would like to sit by in class. They put 3 names on it, and I tell them I'll do my best to put at least one person in your group. The kids are automatically assigned a partner. They're automatically assigned a group. So when we do partner or group work, it's not going around the room and somebody's left out. They know. And there's at least one person in their group that they wanted to be with. When you guys came in, we had just switched seats the last time in class. And so some of them know each other really well and some of them don't. So it was an opportunity to get to know each other as a group, because they're going to have to talk to each other. There's a lot of talking in my class with, okay, let's process this. Talk to your partner or talk to your group. Let's see what you're thinking. What do you understand? What do you not understand? And they need to be familiar with their group and comfortable with their group.
I want you guys to make sure you're comfortable with the people in your group, so as we do group activities, it's a little easier.
Something that was really awesome for me to see while you guys were here is I have one student in that particular class that you observed that in who is extremely quiet, extremely introverted. And as I walked around and was trying to kind of just listen and be a part of each of their conversations, she was smiling, she was laughing, the kids were helping her to be engaged, and that's one of the big purposes of that, is for them, each of them, to feel comfortable.
Yes.
And the conversation wasn't about the topic we were talking about. It wasn't a review. It was, let's get to know each other so that we can have these good conversations. And I think that's important, to build that positive climate and for them to feel comfortable to raise their hand and give an answer and be wrong. That's okay. We've got a positive, it's okay. When we make mistakes, we're learning, and you're helping the rest of the class to learn.
How many of you learned at least one thing about each person in your group that you did not know before? Sweet. That was the whole purpose of this.
And so many kids this age, they want to have friends. Mm-hmm. And a lot, like if you were to poll your class, like a lot of them would say like, I just don't feel accepted in things. And so the more you can do to help model and show like, this is how we talk to one another. Like, this is good pro-social behavior. Like, we ask questions about like, what's your favorite TV show? Like, we're really trying to get to know each other.
It's hard as a secondary teacher to get to know every single person's name. My goal is, I tell the kids, give me 2 weeks. And by standing at the door, my purpose is to greet them, yes, and to help them to feel welcome to come in, but also to get their name. And then afterwards, that is one of the welcoming strategies, is to greet the kids by name. When somebody is greeted by name, it helps them to feel like they belong. These strategies that we do not have to be 10 minutes out of your class. It's a minute here, it's a minute there. It's something that doesn't have to take away from the curriculum that we're doing. In my opinion, the social and emotional strategies are the most important thing that I'm doing in my class, because that is what is going to help the learning take place. All right, stand up, tuck your chairs in so we have room to move.
One of the things I notice is that you are an in-motion teacher, and I can really appreciate that. I just love that strategy that you were using to connect with kids.
So remember, this time when you get into groups, I want you to try to be with people you weren't with this time. Okay, walk around.
I'm wondering if you have others that you might want to share, that whether that's to teach the students their own skills, or if it's, things that you do to engage and connect with students.
One of the things kind of with the students and helping them connect with each other, it's interesting to see them from the first week or two of school until we're just beginning of the second term right now. We do go over a lot of the communication skills, because sometimes when I ask them to talk to their partner, they're talking to the wall, they're talking to the ceiling, the floor, they're not making the eye contact, they're not being an active listener. And it's fun to kind of see that progression and for people to really feel heard, and also to be able to talk to another person and have those good communication skills, which is a life skill. Anytime my kids are working, whether they're working on a partner project, a group project, I have frequently when they are walking around the room and looking at different things on the walls, and I don't just stand and watch. I go up to the kids, I will talk to them, I will find out what they're interested in, I'll get their opinion on something that we're doing, because that's the way that I can connect with my kids. And as they walk into the classroom and you ask them about how their basketball game went, that connection is just strengthened. We do a lot of in the engaging activities in the middle of class. You can tell as a teacher when the kids are like, okay, I need a break. Whether they're working together as a group and it's getting they're getting off task, or whether you're trying to have a discussion and it's just kind of fizzling. And there's lots of different ways to give them a brain break. Sometimes I'll just have my kids get up and I say, hey, we're going to walk for 1 minute. Just walk around the classroom. It doesn't have to be in any pattern. We're just going to walk. If you want to talk to somebody while you're walking, great. You just need to be moving. And it's simple. They get up, they move, and it's amazing how much more focused they can be when they sit back down. We do a lot of breathing exercises. I've taught my kids several of the different breathing exercises. There's the starfish breathing. We've done the sit and twist. There's the even in, even out. Sometimes we just stand up and we take a deep breath. All right, you guys, especially in my health classes, we have some pretty hard topics that we talk about. And for them to be able to just take a break and not have to, think about it for a while, or just for a few minutes, it gets them re-engaged in what we're doing. One of my favorite things to do is after we've talked about a particular concept, or they've done some work or some research, we'll do a walk and talk with their partner. Sometimes we do it here in the classroom. Sometimes we'll actually walk out into the hall and this is the topic for you to talk about. We're going to walk and talk about this topic, and I'll give them a destination or a time frame in the classroom. And I walk around and I just listen. And for me as a teacher, that helps me tremendously to know what they know and what they don't know. More so than filling something out on a test. It's just hearing them talk to each other and figure out, okay, they get this concept. I need to review this one a little bit more. It's pretty powerful.
So when I was in my 10th grade English class, so this was a long time ago. I don't want to say how long ago, but I forever have etched in my head what my English teacher wrote to me on my paper. It said, "End strong," and it had a couple exclamation marks. Like it's a part of my life, whether it's ending an essay or trying to end a class period. And we were able to see you end strong today. It was brief, but it was intentional. What have you done to be more intentional about having an optimistic closure?
As a teacher, and every teacher will be able to relate to this, sometimes the time gets away from you. It gets away, and the intentional closure, it needs to be pre-thought out. Just what am I going to do? So if I get down and I only have 1 minute, you can still do an optimistic closure with that 1 minute. To wrap up with today, here's what we're going to do. In just a second, I'm going to ask you to stand up. And I am going to ask you just to walk around the room. And then I'm going to say a number. When I say a number, I need you to get in a group with that many people. Once everybody's in a group, I am going to ask you some questions about things that we've been talking about over the last few days. You're going to discuss that question, and then we'll mingle and roam again. It could be a turn and talk to your partner about one thing that was your aha moment today, or one thing that you can take away from the lesson today. It doesn't have to be anything that's big. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. As you guys are talking, I'm going to be walking around and I'm going to be listening. And the reason for this is so that I can see that the things that I wanted you to understand, you understand. Is it an exit ticket? Is it a discussion? Is it having them write a reflection? Whatever it happens to be, is it something to prompt them for what you're going to be talking about next time? Here's something I want you thinking about before you come to class next time. But to be intentional about what you want to do helps out a lot.
Right. And I think as adults, we debrief about everything, right? We always want to debrief. You get done watching a movie, you want to talk to the person you saw it with about it. But sometimes in class, we don't debrief. And that's really what you're doing there. I want to talk about the optimistic part of it. So what have you noticed about ending optimistically?
It puts me in a better mood to start the next class, for one thing. Okay.
So true.
But it also, it's some closure for the kids for that class, and then going into the next one. And when you end on that positive note, it leaves kind of the positive taste for them as they leave their class.
Well, what I would say is, you talk about a lot of hard topics, and some of them are tough to handle, but leaving optimistically, leaving with a good feeling, I think that's what the important thing is. It doesn't matter what topic that we're taking or that we're talking about in class, we're still going to end on a positive note.
Right. And that positive atmosphere that you're trying to create in your class, if you send them out on a negative note, that's diminishing what you're trying to do the whole time in your classroom. So the positivity is important. And as I mentioned, every day when my kids leave, the last thing I say to them is have a good day and be kind to each other.
Nicole, thank you so much for talking with us about social emotional learning and just welcoming us into your wonderful classroom where the vibes are really good. So we really appreciate that.
Thank you.
We like to end all of our episodes with a gift from our guest. So do you have a gift, a recommendation, or something that's making you happy this week?
Yes, I got two things. Okay. One thing is a book that I would recommend. The title of the book is What Great Teachers Do Differently, 17 Things That Matter Most, and it's by Todd Whitaker. Veteran teachers or beginning teachers, it is a very thin,
we love to see it.
Simple book and very simple to read through, but to me it has been very powerful. It's been one that's got really simple things that you can do in your classroom to help create that positive atmosphere and to make those connections with your kids. So this is one thing that would be a gift that I would recommend. Simple, easy book. I've used it in different trainings that I've done with teachers as well. And then the second thing would be a strategy that I use in my classroom to help get more participation, because we all have those students who, as soon as you ask a question or need something, their hands go up, which is awesome, but then it causes other kids they're just going to answer, so I don't need to. Very, very simple strategy is ask the question and just let them know it's safe. I'm not going to call on anybody right now. As soon as you have an answer, please raise your hand. Just when you have an answer I'm not going to call on anybody. As soon as you have an answer, raise your hand. And then you wait until you get the majority of the kids with their hands up. And then I just say, okay, if you're willing to share your answer, keep your hand up. And some of the hands go down, which is fine. At least I know they're thinking about it. And then it's easier to call on other kids other than that first kid whose hand it's good, but we want to give other kids an opportunity as well. So it just gets more participation going in the classroom.
Wow, what a fantastic ending to this podcast.
Yeah.
What a great strategy for us. Well, as always, we'd like to thank our producer, Tom. This season, we're also putting video of the podcast on YouTube. You can continue listening on your favorite podcast app and also check out the video on our YouTube channel. Check the show notes for that link. Thanks for joining us. Please like and subscribe and share the podcast with others. See you at school.